All right.
Do we say it on 3?
Yeah.
All right, let's go.
Purple politicians, sing it.
Hey, Purple,
Hey, Purple
World.
World.
It's Masina, and I'm here with Kat in Brooklyn.
Brooklyn.
No, and we are going to be doing an episode on bootlegs. The reason I chose to do an episode on bootlegs or unreleased tracks from Prince is because with the current releases that have come out with the originals in 1999, I wanted to talk about why those releases are super important to us Prince fans, and just go over some things that a non-fan or newer fan wouldn't understand, like what is the big deal about 1999? You're getting it again. But we're not. We're getting things that we feel should have also been released, but Prince decided not to release them in this time that 1999 was recorded.
That's right. So, it was funny that you were saying, what's the big deal? Because I happened to be at a bar last night, and I had come from a Prince party, and someone said to me, love your Prince shirt. And I said, I just came from a party, and they just re-released 1999. And the person looked at me like, well, what do you mean they re-released it? Like, why? And I'm like, no, it's like 10 vinyls, and but 10 vinyls of what? Because 1999 was one album, so it's hard for the average person to understand who's doing it, what's doing it, why are they doing it, why is it important. So it is true. I think the average person who knows who Prince is doesn't really understand why this material is being re-released.
Right, and then Prince fans know them as, because there are 10 discs on the vinyl. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure how many CDs, because I haven't been
5. I think it's 5.
paying attention to anything else but the vinyl, because that's all I want.
I'm pretty sure it's 5.
So what it consists of, according to my understanding, because of course I'm just worried, all I care about is the unreleased stuff, is the actual album remastered is something that Prince fans have always wanted. We want all his albums remastered.
That's
and
correct.
Then some edits. I'm not too fond of that. How many times could I listen to 1999?
They're like radio edits, long versions, dance mixes of the same songs.
So I think that's a disc, and then you have the live disc, and then I believe there's 2 discs for the CD on bootlegs or unreleased material that has not come out until today among the general public.
That's right. That's correct.
And that's what we want. We are going crazy over, because there are songs on there that have been recorded in, 1982 that have seen the light of day in a better quality, because with bootlegs for us, we got it. Those who have acquired bootlegs have gotten them raw, meaning Prince hadn't finished them. And I just want to say, because there's a lot of people who think, why would you want anything that's not finished?
I want everything finished or unfinished. I don't care what it is.
If you experience it, we don't think of it like that. When we hear it, it's finished, because it's beautiful the way it is. And Prince said, okay, it's not finished, or maybe it wasn't suitable for the album that he was recording, but it doesn't mean that it wasn't good. Finished or not.
Tell me a little bit about bootlegs, because I was not a person who, don't even ask how old I was by the time I got a computer. I was a real Luddite. Okay. I went to college so long ago, my papers were on typewriters. So I don't know that I would have known where to go to get bootlegs. Okay. So what's a little bit of that history of bootlegs? When did they come out? Who released them? What's that history?
So everybody has a different understanding of, I believe, bootlegs, because we all came from different generations, different places, and even newer fans are discovering them in different ways. Now, newer fans are discovering bootlegs on 1999 Deluxe or Super Deluxe. People that I know who are older than me and have been fans longer than me and have been the diehards and have acquired these bootlegs have acquired them in record stores. I don't understand that. Personally, because I don't understand the record shopping. How do you go to a record store and find a bootleg if it's not an official release? But this is how everybody has done it
Were they under the counter and
See,
you
I don't know.
had a tape?
It seems as though they weren't looking for them. They found them. Yeah. They were,
They were available.
Available, yes. So whoever put those together, someone I spoke to really put some insight to it. Before I came, I had asked a bunch of questions, but I'll get into that later. But they said something that really makes sense, is that these are things that fans have put together for other fans. To make money, yes, but I think it was about giving it to the fans, to other fans.
Sharing it.
Yeah, sharing it. And one way was in the record store to acquire them. The other, the method that I am most familiar with is sharing it through CDs or buying the CDs from people who have created them, because there are so many types of bootlegs. It's not just a recording in a studio that Prince didn't want of 1999, or it's more of 10 versions of 1999 that you never heard of before, and one's longer than the other, and one has a sigh that Prince did, or a cough or something, it's different things. And there is the live stuff. And of course, this is why we love Prince, and this is why people love live performances by Prince, because it doesn't matter what song he does. He can sing Kiss a million times, but he does it differently every time.
It's funny you say this, because in listening to 1999, there's a track of International Lover where it's just Prince and Morris like putting it together, and there's a line when he says the line about we ask that you do not fall asleep before the landing has completed. He giggles. He realizes that that's a really funny line, because a lot of people fall asleep before the landing, right? Or just right after the landing. So he laughs, and he also tells Morris not to touch the cymbals. Don't touch the cymbals. And then he says cymbals, and you hear Morris. And that is completely different than any other versions of International Lover that I've ever heard, or any other ones on 1999 Deluxe or Super Deluxe. So that's kind of special to hear that little giggle, and just that little thing makes it special.
There's like a lot of elements to it that Prince kept everything he recorded, whether he wanted to use it or not, for whatever reason. And then there's so much to it's like you're there, obviously, with that. Okay, so for instance, there is a recording that's released and it's full of unreleased material that Prince actually released, and it's the Crystal Ball, and that has chlorine bacon skin, and it's exactly what you're saying. With in the beginning of the song, he and Morris are going back and forth as if it wasn't supposed to be released. They're just jamming, and he still released that for us, and that's what we like about him, because that's not Crystal Ball is not a commercial hit, but we love it. And I think this is another point someone else brought up, and I think about it all the time. I used to think about this years ago, that Prince might have been the one leaking the
I mean, how would
anybody
get out?
Because there are people. Come on.
I mean, you would think that maybe there'd be a little leaking by Prince to get people excited about stuff. Or you leak a little something out, and and then people get excited, and then an actual release comes out.
More than that, I think the way that Prince worked, he worked in two levels, or two separate ways. Commercially, non-commercially. And I think that he did things for the hits, the casual fans that did love the hits, and didn't not that they were any worse than anybody, but they didn't really get into the deeper cuts, or maybe they just were satisfied with just the hits. Didn't buy the records, and that's fine. But then I honestly feel like he had so much freedom in his artistry that he decided, hey, I'm going to record stuff, and I'm going to just leak it out for the fans that really love my music, because I am an artist who doesn't care to get paid for my music. He did say that he doesn't like the bootlegging, and he doesn't like other people getting paid for releasing his stuff. But I don't think he said he doesn't like it being out there.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, I'm not an expert on. I don't know all the quotes.
The only thing I was watching recently was that little clip where he's in that interview with Arsenio that gets played a lot. You see it a lot, where he talks about bootlegs.
He does, yeah.
And he says, you know, well, there's bootlegs out there and people have them and they're not completely finished. But he never says in that statement, I don't even know where these bootlegs came from. He acknowledges that there are bootlegs out there, and he acknowledges that there's a lot of unfinished stuff, and you know, as if it's part of his catalog. And they're talking about the vault anyway.
Yeah.
I love that point when Arsenio asks him, you know, how much stuff is in that vault, and Prince says, you would look years different if you had sat and tried to hear the whole thing.
Right.
There's so much
stuff. Are you
stuff.
kidding me?
Yeah.
I have a computer with thousands, I don't want to say thousands, but hundreds of songs, and this is over years, and I'm still discovering stuff.
Yeah.
Still.
Yeah.
And that's just the way it is. It's unbelievable. I was also going to say that there was the interview with Kurt Loder on MTV.
Yes.
Didn't he not say that they would come out? You know, that the whatever's in the vault would come out. Did he say it was going to come out by him? No. Did he say it was going to come out by anybody else? No. Did he say he didn't want them to come out? No. So
I wish I had thought about this earlier. There is an interview with someone where he does say, you know, I've got a vault full of material, and maybe maybe in the future this stuff will be released. So I think he didn't not keep it without reason. I think he kept that stuff with reason.
Yeah.
He knew that at some point, either by me or in the future, you know, like a time capsule, someone will do it.
Right.
And we want that, right? We want to see what's in there. And I like to believe that there's so much stuff, so many albums and so many collabs and so much stuff down there that we actually...
It would be overwhelming.
We might, I mean, you might, because you're younger than me. I may not live to see it all come out.
Yeah.
It's so much. You know, when he first passed and people said, well, there's 100 years of stuff in the vault. If they put out one thing a year, it would take them 100 years to put it out. I'm almost 50. There's no way I'm going to live long enough to see it all.
Right.
So, so I think there's enough stuff to keep us drooling for a very long time, or at least I hope so.
So, before coming here, I sent messages to many of my Instagrammers and Facebook friends, and asked them a few questions, and I just wanted them to give me their thoughts on bootlegs. How they acquired them, what their understanding of bootlegs are, and what they thought about them being released. And so we have some of their responses. If we don't go through everybody's, please know that I loved everybody's and agree with, because I'm the type of person that I don't say someone is wrong about their opinion, wrong or right about this in their opinion. I agree with both. Like, I get it. They shouldn't be out there because Prince didn't want them there. But I'm guilty, so.
Yeah, I'm glad they're out there. I'm biased, actually. Yeah. So I'm going to read the comment, and then you're going to just respond to the comment. Or we can both respond. So the first one's from Candy, and Candy is, let me just press that Candy. Here we go. And it says, Prince bootlegs showcase the extra genius of Prince, a musician, an artist, a producer, and an instrumentalist. It's exemplifying how brilliant this man can be outside the norm of studio releases. There are reasons, they are the reasons casual fans become hardcore fans. My opinion about Prince bootlegs is being released is quite simple. They should. For example, the Computer Blue extended hallway speech, the general public needed to hear that. They needed to take a very good listen to the genius Prince was. I want people to realize that Prince is so much more than just Kiss or Purple Rain.
Right. However way you would acquire a bootleg, you were hooked, and it made you a hardcore fan. And I remember the day I learned about bootlegs a while ago. I mean, a while ago, but a while before I actually acquired one. And that was, I guess I was online looking at like Prince.org or Housequake, or there was a page called Hammer back in like 95 or something. But I think I'd learned about them before, and I don't know that it clicked until it was like 97 or 98 when I was listening to WBAI. And they had, I forget the name of the station, I feel really bad, but I listened to that all the time, and they used to play bootlegs and live recordings and regular recordings, everything, but they played deep cuts. Let me tell you, there was no way I was not gonna love this man after, because they would play 12 hours straight of Prince on his birthday and Christmas Eve. And I was hooked. Yeah. Because let me tell you, when I heard, I know Good Love is released, but when I heard, but when I heard it, or the live versions, oh please. Yeah. So yes, she's absolutely correct. When people may say, well, why are these guys buying the bootlegs? But you don't understand, the music is the music, and when you're hooked, you're hooked. It's a drug. It really is, more. And you want more.
Just want more.
Yeah,
absolutely. The next comment is from Robin, and Robin said, I think for me, bootlegs opened up another dimension to the Prince world for me, deepened my love for him and his art, and although I know he hated, rightly so, that people were stealing and selling his music, it solidified his legend. I don't mind that some of them are now being officially released. Well, on the one hand, it's like, so what, I have that one already. But ultimately, it's awesome to have an actual mixed and mastered copy finally. I have to say, though, the estate has surprised me. I thought that I had Wouldn't You Love to Love Me, but they hit me with that version on originals and blew my freaking mind. Prince is the gift that keeps on giving.
All right, Robin, preach it.
Preach it. Yeah, that doesn't even need a comment. That's like perfect the way it is. Should I continue?
Yeah, are we recording?
And we are recording still. All right, so I have one from Crystal. And Crystal says, after Prince's transition, I dug a little more deeper into the bootleg community and found out how much love and detail went into these releases. People's hard-earned money and a lot of time goes into these sets. They're not making any real money from doing this, barely breaking even, if that, but doing the work so that the community can get a link in their DMs. My money goes right to the source now. I do believe that if you own a boot, it's only right that if the songs are actually officially released, you're obligated to support the release by purchasing.
Right. I agree.
I think that's fair. Yeah. Absolutely. All right. And did we say Dramas?
Yeah, he's funny.
Okay. This is Dramas Music.
Rob.
All right. And it said, if the estate wanted to make Prince fans happy, they would release anything that he did with MJ, with Michael Jackson. Anything with 3 exclamation points. Yeah,
that would be...
I mean, wow. Could you imagine?
I bet there's stuff in there.
I've heard weird stuff. I heard like that there could be Ozzy Osbourne in that vault. That there is like, that anybody that walked in that place.
Because I don't think people realize, let's see, other than outside of Prince world, anybody that's been in there, I don't think they realize that Paisley Park is a recording studio. Yeah. And people have been in there.
Can you imagine if like there's Prince and R.E.M., Prince and like if anybody who recorded in
and
there?
I think maybe that's why he was so, loved, but after he passed away, I didn't realize how much musicians loved Prince. And I think they really did have that.
Oh, absolutely.
Connection.
And even musicians, I think that you don't associate with Prince so much, because I remember seeing a clip of Lars from Metallica, the drummer from Metallica, saying how sad the band was, but also, you know, they were also with Warner Brothers, and they also lost their masters, and every time Prince made some headway in that area, he was winning battles for the
For
other
everyone.
musicians,
Yeah.
and Lars Metallica totally acknowledged that after Prince passed away. And a lot of people passed through there. I mean,
Yeah.
the Red Hot Chili Peppers, where you
Yeah.
know there's Chili and Prince
Prince.
in there somewhere. There's got to be.
Yeah.
So if there were an album of that stuff with like, not duets, but things that people recorded with Prince that you would never expect,
Yeah.
that would be just crazy.
So I just want to add another point as to
Yep.
why bootlegs are so important to us, or unreleased tracks or different versions are so important, because again, with the whole two-sided thing with Prince, the commercial side and the non-commercial side, Prince released what he released for the record companies, whatever they wanted, until he started giving up,
Yeah, until he didn't have to, or until he
didn't care.
Yeah, didn't care.
So we got the raw stuff, however we acquired it, and whether he leaked it himself or whatever, it was raw and it was for us. When he spoke to Kurt Loder about the releases, he seemed happy about the vault and what's in there, and he said there's that gritty, grimy Prince, and the really underground time, and that's what we want, and he knows that we want it. I could tell in that interview that it's gonna be, one day they'll hear it, or and you guys don't know what you're missing. Even Prince told you, but you didn't listen.
I think the vault, if I could just say, and you can disagree, but the vault I kind of think was Prince's gift to us.
Yep. Yep.
He knew eventually that either he'd release it or somebody would.
He was sneaky.
And,
He was funny.
and it's like, just in case anything ever happens, I've got this gift that'll be for everyone, and it's a beautiful gift. I mean, we've been for the past 3 years benefiting from this incredible gift. Yeah.
Yep.
Should we read another one?
If we have time.
Should we do one more? Mr. Curtis 777 says, the rumors of the vault had this mysterious aura that made the bootlegs even more appealing. To be able to hear multiple versions of songs that we knew would never be released, or so we thought, gave us an invisible badge of honor that we would wear around the peasants of Top 40 radio. The bootlegs were just as much a part of his career and catalog as his release music.
It is, yeah.
I agree.
Yeah. And as far as the badge of honor, it felt weird after he passed away, knowing that they would start releasing things, because it did feel like we were.
Yeah. No, but I know what you're saying. It's you had something special.
Special, right? And now all of a sudden everybody's a Prince fan.
Yeah.
And oh my God, the new stuff. You weren't. I can't put everybody in the same box.
Yeah.
But that's how I felt. I did have a badge of honor.
But I think you guys still have those raw pieces of history.
There's too much.
It's just that now you've got that, and you've got like the mastered version of it that's nice and clean.
Yeah.
So I think one of the responders had said that already anyway. But you've got that special stuff, and then I like that this new stuff is on these records because, for me, because I own 0 bootlegs, but also because I think what's important to all of us, and I think the reason you do this show and the reason I have my little show on makerparkradio.nyc on Prince, is just that we want a younger, we want this to continue. We want his fan base to continue and grow. We want young people to get excited about Prince, and it's going to be harder and harder for them to get bootlegs in some sense. But if this material is out there and widely available and on Spotify and Tidal and all of these streaming services, all it will do is just build his base bigger and bigger. And I think that's what all of us want. We want that music to continue, and we want it to be like these little tiny kids that I saw at like Paul McCartney's concert, because they're Beatle fans, but they're 6. And it doesn't matter that the Beatles were over 50 years ago. They still have an enormous fan base. And I think we would want that same thing for Prince.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Excellent.
Yay.
Yeah. thank you so much for schooling me on bootlegs.
You're
this
welcome.
was so fun. I hope you guys come back to Brooklyn and have another like little couch talk.
Thank you.
And you just tell me when and
All
we'll
right.
set it up.
All right.
Thank you so much
Thank
for having
you.
me.
Thank
Bye,
you.
guys. Thanks so much for watching.
Peace and be wild.
Bye.
Bye.